VERB FRAU TV, in conversation with artists, the community, and the public during live Biennale. So Paul's Criar's is, what was your favorite performance that you've experienced in the audience? Francisco Fernando Granados asked, what performance were you in the audience and you watched it and it made you cry?
Oh, I don't know if it was the first one, but Lee Wen made me cry in Singapore.
Tell us what you saw.
He performed Saint Sebastian with his guitar, and he dressed the guitar as a woman and impaled it through the strings with long pieces of wood, like Sebastian, and held it over his head and shook it, and all of the wooden pieces fell out. It was much longer than that. He made love to it. He transformed the guitar into a woman. It was phenomenal.
And you cried?
I cried, and I looked around, and a lot of people were crying. It was also, Wen's not well now, and it made us all realize I'm crying again. What a genius he is.
Thank you.
I guess a performance that really moved me recently, or in the last few years, was at the Venice Biennale, the immaterial retrospective of the Venice Biennale by this Romanian duo. It was like a 2-hour reenactment or enactment of artworks that had been shown throughout the history of the biennial, but a group of 5 artists were embodying those pieces and performing them and sort of translating the different works into an embodied experience. And it was really beautiful, actually, but very political in its own way as well, and it really absorbed me. Like I was there for the 2 hours, just lost track of time and really connected me with being present.
Can you describe one little thing you saw that was very beautiful and or political or both?
Well, they, for instance, performed a piece that was exhibited, I think, right after the Second World War, or related to the Second World War, and each of the performers would approach someone in the audience and just sort of fall and sort of lie right by your feet as they were standing, and they would stay there for a very long time. But it was a sculptural piece originally, so they were translating these different mediums into the body. I don't know, there were many that were really, really strong gestures. It was a lot about gesture, I guess.
Thank you.
There was a performance by Martin O'Brien, who's from London, England, and he did a performance called Breathe for me. I'm talking about a performance that didn't necessarily make me cry, but was difficult for me to watch. So much so that I had to excuse myself during. It was about a 4-hour performance, and he suffers from cystic fibrosis. His work is based around his illness, but not so much in a way where he wants people to feel sympathy for him, but perhaps empathy. So he performed a series of acts where he has part of his process to get the phlegm out of his lungs is to pound his chest, and he would spit into these vials, and it was all very formal presentation of these vials. There's a long runway, but the part where that was most difficult was when he puts this rubber mask on his face. Not really a mask, it's basically a bag, and he's breathing in and out, so it causes him to look as though he's about to suffocate. But it's part of the process of dealing with his condition. So this thing of empathy and is very important in terms of work that's difficult to watch, I believe. And I mean, that was my experience.
Well, I don't think it's a specific performance, but I know that as far as I can remember, I was always moved by performers, especially performers that you felt that they were completely immersed in what they were expressing on any level. My experience comes very young in classical ballet, so those are the memories I have most of Margot Fonteyn and Aretha and these kind of roles, that I just understood that there was something about the arts, about expression, about movement that connected to everything. And music can bring me to tears, dance, theater, any type of performance, when you really, really feel that it's an interconnection with everything.
Do you have one that comes just to your mind in a flash now, a specific one?
Well, because I mentioned ballet and Margot Fonteyn and Aretha, that does come to mind, Romeo and Juliet. And my father didn't understand classical ballet, so that was an awakening for me when I took him there. It was the first time he actually started crying. And he turned to me and he goes, I understand now. So that was a strong memory.
Thank you.
Took my son already to performance events when he was very small. He was not even 5 years old, and he saw so many performances. But I was so amazed that he was so precise in a feeling like, when is an artist really giving something by being totally present, and because there are also unfortunately quite a lot of artists who are more kind of like wanting something of the audience, and then he would not be interested. He would immediately, so he was this perfect radar. I learned a lot of him, like what is good and what is not good. That comes to my mind.
Thank you.
Tell me, but I tell your tongue.
Tell me.
Tell me, but I take your tongue. Open your legs and let me in. Look and participate. Take into your hand what is given to you. Repeat it until you don't understand. Take your face off. Take your face off. Break it until it doesn't belong to you anymore. It's trauma, 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 trauma. one performance that has been staying in my mind for years is a performance I saw by Tari Ito, which was just that little ball of energy, and she was throwing a giant breast in the audience that was about 10 feet by 10 feet tall. It was inflatable, and just people were just bouncing that huge breast everywhere in the warehouse, and it's just like the atmosphere that she created, and it really became something like there was something about communion and cooperation, and everyone was having fun and collaborating, and just like it was just, yeah, very nice moment. Yeah. Merci.
So I'm actually going to show you an image. This is the last performance that I saw that incredibly moved me and moved everyone in the room. It was a performance done by Terrence Houle last year, and I don't think there was a single person in that room that didn't feel something. It was incredible. And then as far as my own practice now, when I realized that people were the most enjoyable medium for me to work with, that's when I started making the work that I make now.
Thank you.
What a performance that made me cry was Marilyn Arsom in Venice last year, her Marking Time project performance, and that was quite moving, just given that she was talking about, decay and kind of, death. So that was moving. But then in terms of a performance where I really enjoyed being in the audience, it was at the last live, and John G. Bome's clapping performance, which I felt like the audience was there, keeping him going, and it was quite a participatory event.